So, one of my friends went to Vegas last week and he sent me a picture of this Chinese restaurant, Ping Pang Pong. It was literally called Ping Pang Pong. And it made me laugh so hard. And then he goes, it's kind of a racist name, but the food was really good. So I'm kind of conflicted. And it was just really funny. And I didn't think twice about it until I was in bed later that night trying to fall asleep. And I kept thinking, but was that really racist? Was it racist? Was it really? And okay, I'm going to paint both sides of the picture here. So, adding more color. The phrase ping pang pong doesn't have a meaning. It isn't a Chinese phrase or a phrase in any foreign language based on my Google search, but it's quite obviously meant to sound Chinese enough. And that's the interesting part because my theory is that it was probably a business decision. Think about it. If instead of ping pang pong, it was called something that was using a legitimate Chinese phrase or Chinese characters or Chinese words, it might have come across as too foreign, even in a place like Las Vegas, which is an international city. I think even I would be too intimidated to eat at a place with a name I couldn't understand or was in a language I couldn't understand. And this is coming from a person that loves authentic Chinese food. And so it can be a little bit intimidating, but for some reason, the name Ping Pang Pong brings a sense of familiarity. And maybe there's some undertone of humor there. So maybe it's like a play on stereotyping. I don't know. But there's an effect to Ping Pang Pong that would draw me in. And I bet it's the same for a lot of people. So isn't it a great thing for more people that might not eat at a super authentic looking Chinese restaurant to now have had exposure to Chinese food just because the name drew them in by being a little bit more familiar? But okay, back to the racism piece. So, a bit of a thought exercise here. If a place is named Ping Pang Pong and serves bad Asian food, is it racist? You might answer yes, because the representation is offensive. But even that, the representation of bad Chinese food in Las Vegas might be offensive to Chinese people. I somewhat get it. But at the same time, racism is supposed to be a very seriously discriminatory thing, an objectively harmful thing. Is the word racism so fragile now that something as bad quality food is considered racist? So, two things here. Firstly, the market kind of takes care of that on its own. Poor quality food leads to poor quality reviews, which leads to less customers, and then over time, a very unsustainable business. It would just be replaced by something else, maybe even a better performing Chinese restaurant. And secondly, the reality of Ping Pang Pong is that it was a Chinese restaurant that provided a great experience for my Chinese friend. And when I Googled it, I found out that this place has stellar reviews. It's actually one of the busiest Chinese restaurants in Las Vegas. And that's quite impressive on its own. I don't think being a good business selling good Chinese food is discriminatory or hurting anyone. But okay, another question for you. If a place is named Ping Pang Pong and the owner is a white man, is that racist? Again, you might answer yes, because maybe the idea of somebody else making a profit while representing a culture that isn't theirs makes you feel like it's unfair because only somebody born into a culture should be able to represent it? No, That one doesn't seem right either. It's definitely not aligned with this democratic, capitalism, meritocratic society that we live in. But okay, let's say you believe that. Two other things here. Firstly, somebody selling great food after learning and being inspired by a culture and then creating a great experience for their customers really benefits that culture. It's an appreciation of that culture. And if done right, it even creates more opportunities for similar businesses. Think Taco Bell, think Chipotle. Oh my God, there are so many examples. It's kind of a win-win. So no, it's not racist. And if anything, the real racism is gatekeeping a culture to just the people that were born in it. Because that's how cultures die out and stop being celebrated. Okay, and secondly, the truth is, the owner is an Asian woman, Carrie Hung. She's been running this place since 2001. And all of a sudden, that brings a huge sense of respect, doesn't it? It makes you want to celebrate Ping Pang Pong and this Asian woman making a successful business selling Asian food. Good Asian food. Now, even if you were offended by the name Ping Pang Pong, it almost doesn't matter anymore. And for some reason, it's not racist anymore. Racism cannot be that fragile where the quality of food or who the owner is makes you decide if something is discriminatory or not. It's not racism. It's maybe political correctness. I don't know. But I get the discomfort. I really do. I feel it every time I have to say namaste at the end of a yoga class. And it's not that I feel offended. It's maybe that I feel like I'm supposed to be offended. I think it's a very Western ideology that you need to protect your identity. You need to claim it, and nobody else has a right over it. And I think this ideology stemmed from real systemic issues that were based on race, but since then have been taken a little bit overboard. A couple years ago, there was this petition online that went viral. It was for Trader Joe's to remove their ethnic branding from their ethnic products. And for context, Trader Joe's is an American grocery chain, super popular. And nearly every product there has the Trader Joe's label, the Trader Joe's branding. So unlike other grocery stores that usually have a wide selection of branded items, Trader Joe's usually develops their own products for their shelves. And so when Trader Joe's has ethnic foods like Mexican cheese, for example, instead of it being Trader Joe's Mexican cheese, like the rest of their product lines, it would say Trader Jose's Mexican cheese. Or if it's Italian frozen pasta, it'll say Trader Giotto's. And for Chinese orange chicken, it'll say Trader Ming's orange chicken. And so there was this petition to remove the ethnic names like Ming, Jose, Giotto from the Trader Joe's products because they, according to the petition, exoticize ethnic names and make it seem like Joe is the norm, while Ming, Jose, Giotto all fall outside the norm. And so, lots of thoughts, lots and lots of thoughts. But where do I begin? Okay, let's start with the exotic piece. Joe is the norm because it's Trader Joe's. So if Trader Ming's orange chicken is racist, does that mean that Trader Joe's orange chicken is better? Because that's kind of the alternative. Are you fine with everything being under the name Joe then? Are you fine with a white man's name on orange chicken and bibimbap and butter chicken and tamales? If we're talking about being offensive or even cultural sensitivity, is it really worse to have it say Trader Ming's or Trader Jose instead of ethnic food being branded under a white man? Because which one is really cultural appropriation? Isn't it more racist to have a white man's name on Chinese food? But if there shouldn't be any exotic associations, then maybe it can be called Trader Joe's chicken nuggets with orange sauce. Is that more appealing? Does that have less downstream negative effects? Or is it better to just completely cut out any attempt of inclusivity just because it offends someone who wants to gatekeep a culture? Where is the line? Calling this racist downplays actual racism. Calling it racism is kind of like making the climate crisis all about plastic straws. Are you really simplifying this big problem into switching from plastic to paper straws? I mean, I'm sure it saves some turtles, but does that reduce the issue? And I'm not saying it doesn't help at all, but is that really, really, really the most important thing to advertise, to focus on? Does it help with tackling the problem to have all these overly advertised citywide regulations about the ban of plastic straws? Does it help make it serious, or does it make the issue a joke? The worst possible outcome from this is to make people feel like the climate crisis is now resolved and there's nothing they can do because they've switched to paper straws. It's performative. It's also performative to get upset about Trader Ming. This petition was started by a 17-year-old Caucasian girl that received national attention and actually somewhat influenced what Trader Joe sells. Because they did end up removing some of the ethnic branding, but not everything. Personally, as a side note, I would have loved Trader Harpria's butter chicken. I think it would have made me feel seen.